comfortable converting percentages to fractions and fractions to decimals and back again, it's time to use this skill and apply it to some new problems. The type of problem that you might see is something where the patient weighs 240 pounds and the doctor wants him to lose 15% of the weight, and we need to know how many pounds the patient is going to lose. Or this problem down here at the bottom where there's been 1,526 patients who've had heart attacks, which is 28% of the number of patients admitted each year to the hospital, and we want to know how many total patients were admitted to the hospital. So you may have noticed when we've been going through these problems, that sometimes you know the percentage, sometimes you know different pieces, and it's hard occasionally to plug them into exactly the right place. Most of what they'll tell you with these types of problems is, you'll notice we have the part, we have the whole, and you have the percentage. Right? Now you'll be missing one of those, the part, the whole, or the percentage, and that's what you need to solve for in the problem. So what we're going to do is create an equation out of this, and you'll be able to just plug the numbers in, do the calculations, and you'll be all set. So the equation looks like this. Part becomes the numerator in our fraction. Whole becomes the denominator. We're going to have an equal sign in our next fraction. And we're going to have a percent, and we always have 100. The percent is always over 100. So our new equation, our new problem, or formula rather, is part over whole is equal to percent over 100. Another way of saying that is over of is equal to percent over 100. So we take the part and replace it with an is, and the whole and replace it with an of. And the reason we're going to look at it both ways is it depends on the problem. Sometimes looking at it as a part and a whole helps, and sometimes looking at it as an is and an of helps. So we're going to look at a problem here and see what we have. So the first step is to write out our equation. So we have equal over here, and as you see up here, this is the part over the whole, and then this is just a sample of the is over of. So we have them as a little guideline for ourselves. Okay, so our problem is, what is 10% of 240? So we're always going to have 100 down here, and up above the 100 is the percent. So we need to look at our problem and see if they actually give us a percent, and they do. So we're going to put it right up there in the percent spot. And we don't need to put a percent sign in there. We're just going to treat it as 10, not 10%. Now, the next half, or the other side of the problem, we have a part and a whole. And all that we really have left right now is this 240. So is it the 240 the part or the whole? Well, in this particular problem, if you check down here, it says, we have the of here, and this actually does say of 240. So because it says of 240, we're going to put the 240 in the of spot. And the problem actually just says what is. So in case I wasn't sure, that's where my question is, what is? So I'm going to put an X there to hold that spot, and I know that that's what I'm solving the problem for. So to calculate this, now it's just an equivalent fraction problem, just like we've been doing all along. And this is a method that I demonstrated a while ago, so maybe you practiced it a little bit, hopefully you did. So when you look at your fraction, or our equivalent fraction problem, we're looking to multiply something across the fraction, like this. Not like canceling out, a little bit different. But there's always one numerator and one denominator in a problem that we can multiply together. So we're going to start by multiplying 240 times 10. And if you grab your calculator, or you might just happen to know off the top of your head that 240 times 10 is equal to 2,400. Right. Now, the number we haven't used yet is this 100. So we're going to take the 2,400 and divide it by the 100. Okay. And 2,400 divided by 100 is equal to 24. So that's the answer to our problem. We're going to put a 24 up here, and that will go out. Here's our 24. So what is 10% of 240? It's 24. 24 is 10% of 240. So just to remind you, we multiplied this by this and then divided by this number. Let's try another one. Do this one in red. What percent of 640 is 40? So set out our equation again with the 100 under here. All right, now, so we have to figure out what is it we're looking for. Now this one starts off with what percent. So I know that what I don't know out of this problem is the percent. And then we have 640 of, what percent of 640 is 40. Be careful about assuming that the whole number is always the bigger number. That's not always true. But this one does say of 640, so that goes here, and is 40. So we'll put the 40 in the is spot. So 640 is the whole thing, and 40 is the piece of it, or the part of it. So for example, I have $640, and I am going to give Sue $40 of it. What percent am I going to give Sue? That's what this question is asking. So the total amount of money I have is $640, and I'm giving Sue the part of that, which is 40. So let's switch pens here. So now we're looking for what we can multiply across our fraction. We're always going across here. And so we're going to multiply 40 times 100. So 40 times 100 is equal to 4,000. And then we divide by the other number that we haven't used yet. So 4,000 divided by 640 is equal to 6.25. And since we know we're looking for a percent, we'd add the percent sign there. So this is the answer, 6.25%. So I gave Sue 6.25% of my $640 when I gave her $40. All right, let's try one more. 175 is 35% of what number? So we set up our equation, just like always, with the 100 underneath. Tells us 35%. So we'll put that up there. And this one says 175 is 35% of what number? So we know the 175 goes here in the is spot. And what we don't know is of what number, so we know that this is where our question is. This is what we're asking. A word problem to go with this, or the flip side is, I gave Sue $175. That was 35% of what I had. How much money did I have to begin with? All right, so let's switch pens for a second here. So we're going to multiply like this. So 175 times the 100 is equal to 17,500. And then 17,500 divided by the number we haven't used yet will be 35. So 17,500 divided by 35 is equal to 500. So I had 500 total dollars. I gave Sue 175, which was 35% of my total. So each one of those problems involved solving a different piece of this equation. One problem was the is, one problem was the of, one problem was the percent. The 100 is stationary, it's never going to change. So one was a part problem, one was a whole problem, one was a percent problem. So let's see if we can plug that into our word problems from the beginning. See if we can figure out what we have to work with here. So I'm going to just go ahead and put in my formula. And so we're back to a patient who weighs 240 pounds, and the doctor wants them to lose 15% of their weight. How many pounds does the patient need to lose? Now, there's not an obvious is and of in here, but maybe this is a good place for the part and the whole. Now, first of all, they're giving us 15%, so I know it goes in there. And I have to ask myself, is the 240, which is the only number I have to work with, is that a part or is it a whole? Well, it is the whole amount that the patient weighs right now. So it is going into this spot. 240 goes into the whole part. He's going to lose some weight, and that amount of weight that he's going to lose is the part. All right, so 240 times 15 is equal to 3,600. Then the 3,600 divided by 100 is equal to 36 pounds. So our patient is going to needs to lose 36 pounds. The doctor wants him to lose 36 pounds in order to have lost 15% of his body weight. All right, problem number 2. The human body contains 208 bones. 4 of these bones can be found in the big toe. Let's write our problem first. What percentage of the 208 bones are found in the big toe? So huge hint, what percentage? So I know that I'm looking for this. So now we have 208 is the number, and 4. So is it is, or of, or part, or whole? So the 208 bones are the whole, and 4 bones are the part that we're trying to figure out what part of 208 is 4. Sometimes it helps if you reword it that way. So we're going to multiply 4 times 100, because we are multiplying across this way, and then we're going to divide by this number. So 4 times 100 is equal to 400, and 400 divided by 208 is equal to 1.9, and it goes on for a little while. We're going to round to one spot and say that it's 1.9%. So 1.9% of the bones in your body are found in your big toe. All right, last one. Write my equation first. During a 1-year period, a hospital admits 1,526 patients with heart attacks. If this represents 28% of the patients admitted during the year, how many total patients were admitted to the hospital? So we've got our 28%, and then we're back figuring out our whether 1,526 patients is the part or the whole. So if we try to reword this into an is or of problem, we would be asking ourselves, 1,526 patients is 28% of what number? So we know now that 1,526 is the part, and we don't know the whole. So multiply across 1,526 times 100 is equal to 152,600. 152,600 divided by 28 is equal to 5,450. So the hospital admitted a total of 5,450 people last year, or during the year that they surveyed. 28% of those people were admitted for heart attacks, and that total number was 1,526. Good luck, have a good weekend, and I'll see you soon.